Dan, thank you so much for writing in with your question. Over to you for the credits.
Well, that's it for this episode of Crowd Science from the BBC World Service. This week's question was from me, Ann Bloom, in the United States, Miami Beach, Florida. The program was presented by Caroline Steele and produced by Hannah Fisher. If you have any questions, please email crowdscience@bbc.co.uk. Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye now.
You're listening to the BBC World Service, and here's what's happening in the studio this week.
We're stepping into the studios of the Nairobi-born, Chicago-based artist Wangari Maathai as she puts together her exhibition portraying female domestic workers in Kenya, featuring monumental paintings and a replica of her Nairobi studio.
In the studio, Tuesday at 12:30 and 21:30 GMT. At bbcworldservice.com, the climate question.
There's a new and exciting field of science. They can now tell when extreme weather is made worse by climate change and when it isn't. We meet the woman at the forefront of this field, Dr. Freddie Otto, and find out why her work is so important.
This is the BBC World Service, the world's radio station.
Hello and welcome to the History Hour with me, Max Pearson. This week, stories from the past focused on South Africa as we mark 30 years since the country's first fully democratic elections. We'll hear of some key moments, including the Soweto student uprising of 1976.
It was fear, the kind of fear that you taste in your mouth. It was anger, the kind of anger that almost blinds you.
Also, the return of the ANC's exiled leader, Oliver Tambo, remembered by his son.
All of them, I'm sure, felt that they had achieved the first step. They were back home. The ANC was intact. The people were there.
Plus, the tensions among white South Africans around the process of ending apartheid, and one of the country's principal music stars of the time, Brenda Fassie.
Brenda didn't ask me. She ordered me to be her bridesmaids. And yeah, who could have said no? She came in a helicopter flying into the stadium. It was like a concert.
First, today's news.
BBC News, I'm John Shea. A Hamas delegation is to attend peace talks in Egypt today, following Israel's latest proposal for a ceasefire and hostage release deal in Gaza. Parallel peace efforts are taking place in Saudi Arabia, where the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is expected to hold talks with his regional counterparts on the ceasefire proposals and aid for Gaza. Mr. Blinken stressed that more aid should reach the territory.
The most effective way to address the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, to alleviate the suffering of children, women and men, and to create space for a more just and durable solution is to get the ceasefire and hostages home. But we're also not waiting on the ceasefire to take the necessary steps to meet the needs of civilians of Gaza.
Palestinian health officials say Israeli airstrikes on Rafah in southern Gaza have killed at least 20 people. Many more were injured. There are also reports of casualties further north in Gaza City. Israel says that despite calls for restraint from its allies, it's determined to carry out an assault on Rafah, where more than 1 million Gazans have sought refuge. Months of Israeli bombardment and ground assaults have killed thousands of people and left much of Gaza in ruins. More than 100 KFC restaurants in Malaysia are reported to have temporarily closed because of a boycott linked to Israel's attack on Gaza. Many people in Malaysia, which has a large Muslim population, believe the US fast food chain has connections with Israel. They're boycotting KFC to show their support for the Palestinians. The Prime Minister of Spain, Pedro Sánchez, is announcing today whether he will resign. He began considering whether to step down last week when a court opened a corruption investigation into his wife's business dealings. Guy Hedgecoe explains.
He made that announcement the same day that it was confirmed that an investigation was taking place into his wife's activities. Now, the allegations against his wife, Begoña Gómez, are that she somehow influenced the awarding of several hundred million euros in government money to a private company during the COVID pandemic back in 2020. And she used or abused her position as wife of the Prime Minister to do that.
Officials in central Kenya say at least 42 people have been killed after a dam collapsed following torrential rainfall. The dam burst near the Rift Valley town of Mai Mahiu, washing away houses and burying people under mudslides. The Kenyan authorities have postponed the start of the new school term by a week because of the flooding that's killed more than 100 people across the country since last month. The effect of the rains is said to be so severe that the lives of students and staff could be at risk. World News from the BBC. The French actor Gérard Depardieu has been placed under formal investigation over allegations of sexual assault. Two women say they were groped by the 76-year-old during the production of two separate films in 2014 and 2021. He has always denied the accusations. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has denied that his country is sliding towards autocracy, following accusations that his government had stifled media freedoms and orchestrated criminal probes to weaken his rivals. Mr. Modi defended India's democratic processes and hit out at his opponents, whom he accused of defaming India on the world stage. The BBC has been told that Scotland's First Minister Humza Yousaf is considering stepping down. He's been struggling to secure support for his minority government after he terminated a power-sharing deal with the Scottish Greens. James Cook explains.
He faces votes of no confidence this week. The big one is in his leadership. The other one is in his government. There are 63 SNP MSPs. There are 65 in the opposition. He needs at least one vote to shift over. What are his options? He could do a deal with the sole Alaba party, Alex Salmond's Alaba party representative Ash Regan. I've been told repeatedly and definitively in explicit terms that is not going to happen. So, what else? He could win back the Greens, or try to. They continue to insist repeatedly and definitively that they will not vote for him, which leaves resignation. That very much looks like the most likely of those options.
Delayed parliamentary elections are taking place in Togo following a constitutional reform that caused controversy. It replaced the country's presidential system with a parliamentary one. Opponents say this could allow for Gnassingbé to extend his family's decades-long grip on power, as the president will now be selected by Parliament rather than being directly elected. BBC News.
Hello, this is The History Hour with Max Pearson. This week, hearing personal stories from South Africa's history, as we mark 30 years since the first fully democratic elections in the country. We'll be looking at some of the key moments in the anti-apartheid struggle, including the Soweto uprising of 1976 and the return of the exiled ANC leader Oliver Tambo, plus some of the cultural changes that have accompanied the changed politics. But first, as I say, we're marking 30 years since the first democratic elections in South Africa, meaning elections which included the majority black population. Before those elections, white South Africans had to take a decision which would have been unthinkable just a generation earlier. They would have to vote in a referendum to, in effect, usher in black majority rule. Here's Josephine McDermott.
Don't look around, I'm talking to you! Did you vote yes today? What about the guy next to you? Well, what's his excuse?
If friends or colleagues have forgotten that the referendum is on today, please remind them to vote yes.
It's the 17th of March 1992, and subtlety is out of the window. President F.W. de Klerk is asking white South Africans to vote yes to continuing the work he has started to end apartheid.
The newspapers and radio were filled with advertisements, streets were filled with advertisements by the two different factions.
To get back into big-time business, vote yes on March.
Decide on your future and that of South Africa. Vote yes on March the 7th.
Every no-show is actually a no vote.
One of the ad people behind the media blitz tells the BBC the heavy-handedness is justified.
You can't go and paint a rosy picture. 40 years of apartheid, 40 years of evil have left this country in a situation where reform is problematic, difficult, treacherous and dangerous. And that's the way it is. The other way, of course, the no way, is certain doom, the Armageddon.
In his landmark opening of Parliament speech in 1990, F.W. de Klerk announces sweeping changes, the release of political prisoner Nelson Mandela and the unbanning of his party, the African National Congress, or ANC. He also reveals that the laws which restrict land ownership and land use based on race will be repealed. Some in the all-white government voice their dissent and walk out in disgust.
Legislation is to be tabled shortly for the repeal of the Land Acts of 1913 and 1936.
For Nelson Mandela and much of the world observing, this is an overdue righting of wrongs.
As a liberation movement, we are not called upon to thank the government for repealing laws and reviewing policies which are considered as a crime against humanity.
'89 pledging to negotiate with the black majority, suggesting consensus in the country, but the far right had stepped up its violence.
South African police say that at least 5 people were killed and scores of others injured in a fierce gun battle between police and right-wing white extremists at Ventersdorp, west of Johannesburg, last night. The violence broke out when hundreds of supporters of the AWB, the Afrikaner resistance movement, tried to prevent President de Klerk from speaking at a meeting. His helicopter circled overhead, unable to land, as the fighting raged below.
We stay together with the whites. Will you fight? Yes, we will. For South Africa, for our land, we'll fight. We're not going to lay down and let the bad blacks just take over.
South Africa will not fall into a state of anarchy. It is a tragic moment for democracy in South Africa, but it is not a moment at which we can stop and stand still.
There have been 3 bruising by-election wins for the right-wing Conservative Party, which is opposed to ending apartheid. F.W. de Klerk must know he has full support from the white minority before dismantling the way the country has been governed, or risk the potential for civil war. David Stewart was running his communications and advised the president.
The reality is that by the end of the 1970s, the National Party realized that they were riding a tiger. The world was shouting at them, "Get off." But of course, the problem with dismounting a tiger is to ensure that you don't get eaten. The leadership of the National Party was very worried about a number of things. First of all, this would mean the end of the right of the Afrikaner people and white South Africans more broadly to self-determination. And there was also a concern about the track record of the rest of Africa. By the mid-1980s, there had already been 80 coups d'etats in the rest of Africa, and only a handful of states that were genuine democracies. From 1986 onward, our information agency had been doing in-depth surveys on political attitudes in the country, and the government was under no illusion that the ANC had 60% plus support. So there would have to be negotiations with the ANC. The question was, how could you manage this in such a way that there would be a democratic outcome?
On the 21st of February 1992, de Klerk responds to calls for a general election from the Conservative Party by announcing the country will hold a whites-only referendum. If yes wins, negotiations with the ANC will continue and the move to a multiracial government.
He decided to hold a referendum. He didn't consult his leadership. He used his authority as the leader of the party to call the referendum because he knew that there would be considerable opposition within his cabinet because they feared they would lose.
And if they lose, de Klerk will have to resign. Just over 3 weeks later comes polling day, as reported on South Africa's TV1.
White South Africans are flocking to the polls today in one of the country's most historic referendums, a referendum which will decide the future of South Africa.
Do you remember voting yourself on the referendum day?
Yes, I do. In fact, I've got an excerpt from my diary. This is now the 17th of March. My colleagues and I went down to the City Hall, where we cast our votes. There was a queue, but it moved quickly. A dab of liquid which shows up under ultraviolet light, a stamp in the ID book, and the cross in the appropriate block. Probably the last time my vote will have any significance. Who knows?
The BBC asked people how they had voted.
I voted yes. I voted hopefully for a better South Africa, for South Africa with a future. And I hope the rest of South Africa has the common sense to vote for the best option there is.
I believe there will be a no vote. Because I vote for my God,
and for my land. De Klerk is a traitor. He's of his own people. He's a traitor of his own people.
The results started coming in the next morning. It was a lovely day. I looked at the view from Wheelie Grange, front door where I had my apartment, over the golf course and Signal Hill to Table Mountain, and wondered what the day would bring. The first result, Port Elizabeth, was announced a little after 10 a.m. It was very positive, 75%.
And so the results continued. White South Africans had backed an overwhelming mandate to end apartheid and create a power-sharing multiracial government.
I went across to the garden of the presidential office where he made an impromptu speech.
Today will be written up in our history as one of the most fundamental turning point days in the history of South Africa. Today we have closed the book on apartheid and that chapter is finally closed.
We felt absolutely delighted because we were committed to this process, and it would have been absolutely catastrophic had the Conservative Party won. It was a very anomalous situation. De Klerk's greatest achievement was getting himself out of power. And it was really quite a remarkable ride.
The following year, talks led to a new, fairer constitution being created, and Nelson Mandela and F.W. de Klerk won the Nobel Peace Prize. In 1994, South Africa's first non-racial election was won by the ANC, and Nelson Mandela became president. David Stewart oversees the F.W. de Klerk Foundation.
Josephine McDermott. But of course, the dismantling of South Africa's segregated society didn't start with that whites-only referendum in 1992. There were several impactful events that helped to lay the groundwork. One of those came in 1976, when black schoolchildren marched in protest against having to study Afrikaans. They were gunned down by the police. The killings sparked a cycle of protests across the country against the racist apartheid regime. Here's Alan Johnston.
It's early on June the 16th, 1976, and on Johannesburg's outskirts, the young people of the township of Soweto are about to make their voices heard. In the hours ahead, demonstrating black schoolchildren will be fired on by police in scenes of violence that will shock the world. A girl called Bongi Nkabela will be among the protesters. She describes what she felt when the security forces started shooting.
It was fear, the kind of fear that you taste in your mouth. It was anger, the kind of anger that almost blinds you. And it was frustration, absolute frustration. But at the same time, adrenaline also carries you to just run and run for life.
Every aspect of Bongi Nkabela's childhood had been marked by the injustices of apartheid. Along with many other increasingly politicized young people, she had decided that it was time to make a stand. She was elected to represent her high school on a council that made preparations for a day of peaceful protest. It was agreed that on June 16th, Soweto's students would abandon their classrooms. They'd march through the streets and eventually converge for a rally at the Orlando Football Stadium. Their main aim was to protest at the compulsory imposition in their schools of teaching in Afrikaans, the language of the dominant Europeans of Dutch descent.
We understood not Afrikaans only as a language, but Afrikaans as a language of the oppressor. It wasn't just the use of the language itself, it was what the language would mean when it's used as a medium of instruction, when it's imposed on us, when we had no choice.
Bongi Nkabela remembers gathering at her school on what was a cold winter's morning.
You have about 300-400 children gathered outside on assembly. You have your teachers standing on the margins of the assembly, and you have student leaders standing and saying, look, this is how we're going to march. 1, we're going to be very peaceful. 2, we're going to be taking responsibility for one another. So make sure that you're always holding somebody else's hand. Make sure that you're staying on the pavements. Let's not stop traffic. So in some ways, you're trying to put some logic and some sense into this march so it doesn't go wild. We went out expecting particularly tear gassing, and we're ready with water and with things that we thought helped with tear gassing. And indeed, there was a great deal of kind of excitement, as you would imagine if you have a huge crowd, and a level of determination, and I think a level of pride that we've been able to organize ourselves into this huge mass, and that we will express ourselves and get our voices heard by those who were responsible. So when that march takes off, it has a great deal of energy, and we are Africans. We sing when someone dies, we sing when there's a wedding, we sing all the time. So with that kind of gutsy Africanness in us, we took off into the streets. We must have been 30 minutes or so into the march when we had the first canister of tear gas thrown at us. And of course, that threw us out a bit. But we reconverged after we had recovered. We continued to march. And for the first time, we saw army vehicles. Now, these were really terrifying contraptions of vehicles. We had never seen anything like that before. And tear gas was coming out of those vehicles. There was no live ammunition until we got to Orlando, and at that point, it was just live ammunition. We all had to run and hide and get into houses and families.
But you must have been frightened, scrambling for safety, people around you being hurt.
There's a combination of fear and anger and determination.
What was the very worst moment?
Absolutely worst moment for me personally was when the news came that a little boy of 13 had been killed. Somehow I think that was the barrier. It's almost like, when you cross that line, there is nothing else that you can ever fear again. And for me, that was the moment when we realized that lives were going to be lost. And when we realized that it's not going to be about a protest and us submitting a paper of grievances, the response we were going to get was going to be a response that would potentially put us in prisons and even kill some of us.
And as one of the organizers, when you, as you say, saw very young people being hurt around you, did you feel a sense of responsibility that perhaps this had been a mistake?
Alan, no, I didn't feel it. It's been a mistake. I felt the heavy-handedness of the system. I actually realized how evil the system is. And I had absolutely no regrets, except regretting not fully appreciating how evil the system was.
According to the government at the time, 23 people died that day. But on the streets of the township, many believed that the real figure was much higher. And what became known as the Soweto riots spread and simmered on for months, during which hundreds were killed. This was the grim cost of the confrontation that the students had sparked, but their action is now seen as having been a highly significant moment in the fight against apartheid.
The one thing that is said today is that that was a turning point in many ways. And indeed, in South Africa's history, we see that June 16, 1976, it is the point at which the apartheid government begins to realize that it cannot continue forever. I think the issues in Soweto and the lives of people in Soweto cease to be in the background.
Several weeks after Soweto's students began to protest, Bongi Mkhabela was arrested. She spent months in jail and after being freed, was imprisoned again. Altogether, she was behind bars for about 5 years. And all these years on, among her most vivid memories of that extraordinary day in 1976 is one particular moment when the words of a Zulu freedom song called Senzeni Na rang out and captured the mood.
Senzeni Na, Senzeni
I see us leaving the school when the schoolyard was behind us. And when we were holding hands as a group of 6, and I was holding on to my friend Cindy, who is just one of the best soloists I have ever seen. And when she started that Senzenina, and when I could hear the response coming from the huge crowd of students, and that song being carried out, and as we left the premises of Naledi High School, and we looked forward and we marched, that for me is a moment.
Bongi Umkabela, who helped organise the Soweto uprising, was talking to Alan Johnston in 2010. And it's a feature of the anti-apartheid movement, certainly in the crucial later years of the struggle, that women and girls played a particular role. And we're joined now by Shanthini Naidu, who's written extensively on the role of women in the recent history of South Africa. And that role, Shanthini, was enhanced, I guess, at least in part, because the men were being locked up.
Absolutely, Max. It was interesting to think about the time that women got involved in the ANC and into the struggle in general, which is noted in most places as 1943, which is probably 30 years after the ANC was formed. But women were obviously involved for a long time before that, perhaps not officially recognized. But if you really look back and look at the stories that come out of that time, it's evident that women were an integral part of the struggle from day one. When male leadership were in exile and in prison, along with female members of the struggle movement as well, people like Winnie Mandela were existing in society in a very restricted way. So it did give them some opportunity to continue with the movement covertly. As an example, Nandwe Mankashla, who is mentioned in the book Women in Solitary, was a messenger between banned members of the ANC. What this resulted in, though, is that the women were the second layer of targets for the security branch, and it meant that their movements were very closely monitored. Some of the women who were in prison with Winnie Mandela in solitary confinement between 1 and 2 years, which was a really long period to be in solitary confinement if you look back at the history of our imprisonment, because a prison like Robben Island was social, if you can call it that, but solitary confinement was a really desperate attempt to break this struggle movement, and this is where many of the women found themselves in the 60s and 70s.
For those women who confronted the apartheid authorities and were convicted of offences, did their treatment differ from that of the men?
Absolutely. Solitary confinement was in our C-Max prison in Pretoria, which is on the opposite end of the country to Robben Island. It was one of the harshest prison conditions that people were subjected to. And for political prisoners, who the international media was watching and observing in terms of the human rights that were given to political prisoners, were completely disregarded in Pretoria. So this included, along with interrogation and torture, living in a 3-meter by 1 meter cell with a single bare light bulb, no exercise, no meeting with lawyers or family. In many cases, the families didn't know where they were. Terrible food conditions, which actually led to really serious health conditions, including for Winnie Mandela later on. Part of the research that I did on this was after Winnie Mandela's death, because it was not known, the conditions and the experience of the women in those political prisons were very much undocumented, but impact greatly on South African society today.
In effect, it is fair to say that without the women's role in the struggle against apartheid, the end might not have happened when it did, might not have happened as relatively peacefully as it did.
Absolutely. These women who were detained for their activities. So this included, amongst other things, smuggling children across the border to ANC schools in Tanzania and to Angola, to neighboring states. In addition, harboring exiled and banned people for when they were coming in and out of the country, acting as messengers, producing written material, which was banned at the time as well and obviously illegal, to keep the struggle going. So it was a very impactful time in terms of organizing, as it was called in those days, which was really keeping the movement alive, and obviously led to the subsequent, civil unrest and finally to democracy. over many decades. This was 5 decades long, and without the presence of women, including in a social aspect, keeping the homes going and keeping the children in school and maintaining a sort of economic system as well for themselves, would not have happened.
Shanthini, many thanks. That's Shanthini Naidu, author of Women Surviving Apartheid's Prisons and Women in Solitary Inside South Africa's Female Resistance. And there's more from South Africa's past, politics, history and culture when the History Hour returns in just a moment.
This is the BBC World Service, and in the forum...
Better plants, better plant food, better farming techniques. Throughout history, there have been huge leaps in agricultural productivity, innovations which now help to feed a planet of 8 billion people.
We've seen enormous advances in food production at a time of exploding global population.
We'll be discussing the scientific breakthroughs in the middle of the last century. It was called the Green Revolution, and it's credited with saving hundreds of millions of people from starvation.
We have enough stock now, so if there is a drought, that drought doesn't turn into a famine. I have not seen in my living years famine in India.
But with the incredible successes also came unintended consequences.
The Forum, Feeding the World and the Green Revolution, at bbcworldservice.com/forum or wherever you get your BBC podcasts.
Coming up in part 2 of the History Hour this week, looking at South Africa's past, Oliver Tambo remembered by his son, one of the country's greatest singing stars, Brenda Fassie, remembered by a close friend, and the story of an indigenous woman forced into a life of humiliation 200 years ago.
Crying, tears streaming down my cheeks, I went to my desk and I wrote that first line, "I've come to take you home."
First, a news summary.
BBC News, I'm John Shea. Hamas is due to give its response to the latest Israeli peace initiative in talks in Egypt today. The militant group is reported to have no major issues with Israel's proposal for a ceasefire and hostage release deal in Gaza. Parallel peace efforts are taking place in Saudi Arabia. Israeli airstrikes on the crowded town of Rafah in southern Gaza have killed at least 20 people, according to Palestinian health officials. Many more were injured. At least 42 people have been killed after a dam collapsed in central Kenya following torrential rainfall. The dam burst near the Rift Valley town of Mai Mahiu, washing away houses and burying people under mudslides. In the past half hour, Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez has announced he will not resign over accusations of corruption against his wife, which he calls toxic political slander. The opposition has accused him of playing the victim to mobilise support. The French actor Gérard Depardieu has been placed under formal investigation over allegations of sexual assault. 2 women say they were groped by the 75-year-old during the production of 2 separate films. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has denied that his country is sliding towards autocracy. His opponents say his government has stifled media freedoms and orchestrated criminal investigations to weaken his rivals. Mr. Modi accused critics of defaming India on the world stage. South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol has held talks with the opposition leader to try to find a way to work together over the next few years. The opposition Democratic Party won a resounding victory in recent parliamentary elections and could hold up the president's agenda. And Hypnosis, the owner of the music rights of hundreds of artists, has accepted an improved takeover offer from the US firm Blackstone. It's worth $1.5 billion. And that's the latest BBC News.
Welcome back to part 2 of the History Hour with Max Pearson, this week marking 30 years since South Africa's first fully democratic elections, by hearing first-hand stories from the struggle for the end of apartheid. Still to come, the long overdue return of an abused and long dead figure from South Africa's indigenous past, and the cultural changes that accompanied the political. But before that, we get up close and personal with one of the central figures in the African National Congress. Oliver Tambo spent 30 years in exile. Josephine McDermott has been speaking to his son, Dali Tambo.
It's the 13th of December 1990, and thousands of people have gathered at Johannesburg's International Airport to witness a moment they can barely believe is happening. Oliver Tambo, who has led the movement against South Africa's racist regime for 3 decades, is finally returning home. And the man introducing him to the crowds is the recently freed Nelson Mandela.
We welcome him with open arms as one of the greatest heroes of Africa. Thank you.
So many people were crying and laughing and hugging. This was the ultimate. All of them, I'm sure, felt that they had achieved the first step. They were back home. The ANC was intact. The people were there. Even though the Nationalist Party had tried to stop people coming to the airport and blocked roads all over, all the surrounding provinces had roadblocks, there were still tens of thousands of people to greet him. And when he went to the upper level and waved down to them, the eruption, I loved the multiracial crowd. For my father, that was the best day of his life, I would say.
In 1960, the African National Congress Party, the ANC, was banned by the government. Oliver, or O.R. Tambo as he was known, fled the country pretending to be a chauffeur and headed to Zambia, where he set up new headquarters for the ANC. His wife Adelaide and their 3 children, including baby Dali, settled in London in the UK. Safely outside his home country, he became the mouthpiece for black South Africans living with the cruelty and injustice of apartheid. Here he is on CBS in 1962.
You have 12 million people in South Africa who are treated as if they were subhumans. We don't want this status. We will liberate ourselves so that in South Africa, I should feel that I'm a human being. And I don't feel so now at all. I feel I'm a stranger, a foreigner, and at best, an animal in South Africa.
His great achievement was keeping the ANC together in exile, while other key members such as Nelson Mandela and Walter Sisulu were political prisoners. By lobbying around the world and attracting talented South African exiles such as Thabo Mbeki, he built the organisation into a legitimate contender for government. Dali, as a young child, wasn't to know how famous these people would become.
I always felt a bit mystified about the way people treated him, the love they showed him. People like Thabo Mbeki were just my older brothers, and occasionally my mother would speak to Aunt Winnie, and receive messages from Uncle Nelson via her or via other people. But they were all just uncles and aunts, and it was later in life, and I started to get an understanding of who they were and what their role in the struggle was.
That struggle included armed struggle. Oliver Tambo set up a training camp in Tanzania for guerrilla fighters, and as the president of the ANC,
getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices.
No.
These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway.
Really?
10
Let
minutes
me
drive
see.
from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana
I can't
Soccer
hear
Center
you.
of Excellence. For more details, visit our website
Can you hear me?
www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office
Not
on
at all.
0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it, you're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medase.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired. Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and intact? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination intact. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
Are you ready to turn it up?
This is Starr Radio UK.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
When your heart is aching, smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just
just smile. Hey, this is Archie, and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show. Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie, and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. This is UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We want to salute each and every one of you and welcome you to the Monday edition of the Morning Show. Today is the 29th day of April, the year 2024, exactly at 9 minutes past to the top of the hour, 9 minutes to the top of the hour. And wherever you are, I want to welcome you all to this great platform. Oh yes, and where we're going to be bringing you everything that you need to know, from archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar. And then I say it all the time, it's making headlines. Why not? We're going to be touching on that. So get your gears up and get yourself up, and let's take this journey, not a journey to the unknown, but journey to the known. Once again, welcome to Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right then. Let me say a special good morning to my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy, who held the fort this morning. I was running very, very late this morning, but hey, he was in there making sure that everything is lined up nicely so that you can enjoy the full show. So wherever you are, once again, welcome. Somebody say welcome, welcome. Yes, to the Starr Radio UK Morning Show. And let me say good morning to HR Rachel in the Palian all the way in Cyprus. To Bishop Adesina, good morning. Anthony Adide G, good morning to you. Aziz, good morning. Shamsuddin, wherever you are, good morning to you. Mr. Frank Davis, good morning. Kojodi, yes, I spoke to you. It was a lovely chat over the weekend. I hope you are doing very, very well this morning as well. And to the family as well, I salute each and every one of you. Good morning. My own brother Felix, all the way in Aberdeen, massive good morning to you. Eben, all the way in South Africa, Cape Town specifically, good morning to you there as well. And a special good morning goes to Sir Moses in the UAE, and wherever you are listening to us from. Mr. Olaimi Koiki, massive good morning to you all. Yes, Mr. Sunday, Chief Dr. Sunday Goho, wherever you are, sir, massive good morning to you, and I hope you are all doing very well. Yes, you all had a very nice weekend, whatever the situation is, one way or the other. We are here, and I know that we're going to be bringing you everything that you need to know. Let me say good morning to KB Botsman. Yes, yesterday he was having a problem bringing the faith talk, but he promised you that, well, come this Sunday, he's going to bring you that program live. So get your gears up, and he's going to see to that for you. So wherever you are, once again, welcome to the program. This is Starr Radio UK. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the Morning Show with Archie.
Okay, so from now till 12 o'clock, that's where the first part of the program is going to be, where I'll be just handling that. Yeah, I'm going to bring you your quote for the day, the weather forecast, and then we'll follow it up with the travel update. And then after that, we'll bring you all that you need to know across the globe. That is known as Global Trotting. Then after that, yes, we bring you the details of the stories making the rounds. Of course, from Nigeria to Niger. Yes, we'll be bringing you everything from there as well. And then we'll move on from then. Exactly at 11:45. Yes, the lines will be open for you to add your voice to the discussion. At 12 o'clock, the first part of the program will be ready to close. Then we'll take you to Cyprus, where HR Linda Palian is going to be to join us to bring you Career 101. So in a gist, that's what is going to happen today. So wherever you are, don't even think of touching the dial. This is Star Radio UK. This is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, we're going to be moving on. We're going to be moving on from there as well. So stay tuned. Don't you touch the dial at all. I am your one and only Archie. And as I did say, from now to 12:30, let's put it that way, I'm going to be your captain. Stay tuned. All right, so now let's crack on for the quote for the day. What does it say? What does it say? Now, the quote for the day says that look first within yourself before you look at others or go about finger pointing. How true is that? You know, most of us like pointing fingers. And you point one finger at somebody, say, look at that person. Now, how many is pointing at you? You got, at times we say 4, but I think 3 is pointing at you. 1 is pointing elsewhere. But, well, majority of the fingers will be pointing back at you. So, first of all, do an introspection of yourself and see whether you are the common denominator of whatever things that are happening from around you. And if you are able to, like the late Michael Jackson, they say, yes, look at the man in the mirror. That is you. Look at yourself. And then do what you're supposed to do. Once you do that, I think things will take along nicely. It's just by way of the quote for the day. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. This is Star Radio UK, and this is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay. Now, straight on to the weather front. What has the weather got in store for us? Yes. Well, when it comes to the weather front this morning, this is what we have. Yes, this afternoon will be largely dry with a mix of sunny spells and patchy cloud and just the chance of the odd light and brief shower. A milder day with moderate to fresh southerly winds expected. Tonight is expected to become dry and largely clear. There will only be a few patches of high cloud moving in at times. Wind will ease. Total temperature is going to be 18 degrees. Hey! It looks like spring has now sprung properly. And then the lower is going to be 7 degrees. Pollen level is going to be high. So antihistamines for those of you who suffer from hay fever. And then UV level is going to be moderate and pollution is going to be low. So wherever you are, just remember that and do the right thing. If you need to dress up or whatever, make sure you dress up. But coming up this morning, it was a bit nippy though. And we just sit down and think that, oh yeah, everything is all right. By the time you say Jack, you'll be suffering some wild cold. But I don't want you to do that. So wherever you are, make sure you get yourself well. That is why we bring you the weather forecast as well. The sunset is going to be at 2021 and sunrise for tomorrow morning, exactly 05:35 hours from this part of the world. Now moving on straight to the travels. Let's see what is happening on your travel this morning. Well, I can tell you shortly that on all the platforms, on the underground lines, good service running there. London Overground, good service. London Tramlink, good service. But DLR has got minor delays, is experiencing minor delays between Bank and Lewisham due to an earlier faulty train at Elvison Road. Now, good service on all other routes though. And then straight on. Let me bring you that one as well. Straight on. to the major roads in London. The Central London Red Route experiencing serious delays, so if you can avoid it, do so. And South Circular A205 is also experiencing serious delays. But keep your eyes on the roads, as we say it here, as we help navigate you and help you on your ways this morning. Now, when it comes to the river bus this morning, we're running a good service throughout there. London Cable Car is also running a good service. Then that brings us straight to the final segment of the travel update. That is the National Rail. What have I got for you? Well, Avanti West Coast is running severe delays. First Transparent Express severe delays. We've got First Haul Trains minor delays. Grand Northern Rail my apologies. Let me take it again. Great Northern, minor delays. London Northeastern Railway, minor delays. Lumo, minor delays. Southern, minor delays. Thameslink, minor delays. Also, we've got Grand Central experiencing offering special services, and then Northern Rail special service. ScotRail special service. That aside, all the others are running a good service. So please check before you leave so that you don't miss your appointment or end up finding yourself stranded somewhere on your travels. But wherever you are this morning, I want to say it once again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes where? On the road.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for star, R for radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Welcome back to the program Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to exactly a minute after 11, and let's go global. Trotting, let me tell you what is happening from across the globe, right? Okay, somebody say right. Now, so what is happening across the globe? Well, in the UK, there isn't much sweet stories coming from here, but I'm going to bring you all that during the course of the program, so just stay tuned and don't think of touching the dial at all, okay? And then also, we'll be looking at what is happening from Nigeria as well, where there's been lots of going and comings there. Just bear with me. Okay, it's interesting. All these modern gadgets. Yes, but wherever you are, just bear with me as I do. So, okay. So, let's kick it off from Nigeria. Prince Harry, Meghan, Michael to visit Nigeria. Rare reason emerges. Well, I think the military chief they want something to do with the way Harry is in Victor Games. Yeah, they want something. I don't know whether they want Nigerian military personnel to also join in there, those who have been hurt or stuff of that, something of that sort. But I'll be telling you more about that as the program goes on. Why fuel subsidy removal was necessary for Nigeria? Tinubu is trying to explain why fuel subsidy removal was necessary and how has that actually bettered the life of Nigerians as a whole. Someone will tell you that, look, we are swimming in debt. Nigeria secured $600 million investment from AP Mola Maersk to expand port infrastructure. Now, tanker fire NGF seeks after safer transportation for petroleum product. And Nestle Sugar Saga Nido not in Nigerian market. Allow margin loans for investors to buy banks shares, stockbrokers at the Central Bank of Nigeria. And the federal government has begun demolition on Lagos Calabar Highway. Well, that means that project is going to take off as they've promised. And also, Tinubu to Samsung CEO, your tech with Nigerian ingenuity will create limitless opportunity. Well, when we talk about the African continent, and we have people who are genius, yeah, but the thing is, how do we harness that? How do we spot them? How do we? So it takes, some who are on earth, okay? Some are discovered or spotted. However, there are lots of us that have not been spotted, okay? They've got something up there that if we harness it, we'll be able to help. But well, again, we go negotiate all sorts, and you ask yourself the question: the one who was negotiating, did he have the negotiating skills? Did he have the heart of the nation at heart? The interest of the nation at heart whilst he was negotiating whatever? Well, that's another question for another day. But lots more going to be coming your way from there. Moving on straight to some other stories making the rounds on the African continent. Now, Kenya has postponed reopening of schools as flood-related deaths near 100. And campaigning in Togo ends on Sunday ahead of legislative and regional election. Now, Monday's polls come against the backdrop of heightened political tension since the approval in April of a divisive new constitution. Well, so we have the president, Nyasingbe, so ran virtually his party. The moment they have majority, the new constitution said that they would say that we are now selecting somebody to be the leader of the nation, and then that will be him. Unless, of course, he's ruling himself out, saying that, look, I don't want to be part of it. You just get on, and then maybe that will help. That will make the opposition now think that, okay, something worthwhile doing. Now, UN is concerned by reports of imminent attacks in Sudan, and then South Africa marks Freedom Day ahead of tough general elections that's going to be taking place pretty soon. And the U.S. court upholds R. Kelly's 20-year prison sentence. Some of the stories making the rounds there. But listeners, this is all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In Ghana as well, the Ejisu by-election, MPP has no spirit in the Ejisu constituency. Eduomi is saying, but well, you know what the president is saying there as well? The president said no road can be constructed in Ghana without my approval. Kufuado is saying. And he says only an MPP MP can convince me to develop Ejisu. So, it is quite interesting what is going on there. Well, but Kufuado was saying the other time that, well, he sees that somebody who has been defeated twice by him cannot actually be his successor. But the former president, John Mahama, has come out to say, you can never choose your successor. Mahama tells Kufuado to stop playing into the public gallery. Yes. An election commission shows cost-saving measures, disapproving Imani's claims. We're going to be looking into those stories as well. But it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. In other parts of the world, what's happening there? Spain Prime Minister will not resign after allegation against wife. Now, last week, Pedro Sanchez denounced what he called a harassment campaign against his wife. But he says, I'm not gonna resign. My struggle to keep family safe while reporting the Gaza war, one of the stories making the rounds there, and invisible in our own country, being Muslim in Modi, India. Well, interesting there. At least 5 people are dead after tornadoes hit central of the U.S. Some of the stories making the rounds. And over the weekend, Tobago shock attack. Victims able to communicate. At 60, is it 64 or 60? Year-old man was bitten while attacked by sharks. Well, after that, Trinidad and Tobago, we will put this in there. A notification there awarding whoever will be able to kill that shark. Well, later on they had to put it, take it off because animal rights will say why do they kill it? Why do they want to kill the shark? But the shark has gone to actually, and it's going to impact the tourism sector because people are going to say, you know what, we don't want to do it. We don't want to travel to that place. We don't want to come to swim in your seas because we're not sure what is going to happen there. So to reassure the people, there should be something that could say that, well, the sharks cannot come to where they go, have their warm and their swim there. What about that? Okay, Russian attacks are pushing us back, Ukraine's army chief is saying. But we have the US saying that, well, they're going to be sending some latest accoutrements there to help them. MP says he was deported from Africa over China criticism. Well, it's quite interesting. Which country was that? Did that happen? Well, we're going to be telling you more about that in a UK front as well. Hamza Yusuf to resign as Scotland's First Minister. Information coming through. The SNP leader is to step down days after ending an agreement with the Scottish Greens. Well, he said that, look, looking at everything that we have, it's not a matter that we'll be able to have this green, whatever things, environmental, all that community that we talk about. And therefore, it's of the view that, look, we have to wait till whatever years that he gave. And because of that, well, the Green decided to pull out. And because of that, it's now having a minority government. And their banter still goes on because they are thinking for a vote of confidence in him, and therefore, which is likely to lose as well. And especially one other person who could have helped them out, one of his competitors for that position of First Minister, who then left to Alex Salmon's party, and who is not prepared to be voting for them because of the statement that they made when she left. So you see, it's very important what we do when people are leaving us. You can't just go out and just say anything. Well. So we'll see. We'll follow in very closely as the program goes on. As and when there are any updates, we will see. Yusuf rules out pact with Salmon's Alba party. So he doesn't want to have any pact with any other party. So he thinks that, well, the best move forward is to step down, and that will bring about an election in that part of the world because they might have to reshuffle everything. Now, UK Ireland tension rise over asylum seekers. Now, asylum seekers are crossing Northern Ireland to the Republic of Ireland, and they are saying, you know what, you're going to repatriate them to your quarters. But what do you think about all that? It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Some information that came through this morning as well, monitoring some of the stories, was that when it came to immigration here in the UK, well, the Home Office are saying that they are going to be embarking on some, I don't know, project or whatever thing to arrest people detain people who are asylum seekers so they can be deported to Rwanda. So now, by who? But staff at Heathrow also start a strike action. This and a lot more going to be coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is 12 minutes past the top of the hour. Now, let's enjoy some music as we prepare ourselves. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Akwesho Owusu says, the impossible you do. Enjoy it, and I'll be with you.
impossible you do. That is why you are Lord. The mighty things you do, that is why you are mighty. The greater things you do, that is why you are great. All the glory and honor to you.
The impossible you do, that is why you are Lord. The mighty things you do, that is why you are mighty. The greater things you do, that is why you are great. All the glory and honor to you.
The impossible you do,
the impossible you do, that is why you are Lord.
The mighty things you do,
the mighty things you do, that is why you are mighty.
Greater things you do,
the greater things you do, that is why you are great.
All the glory
and honor to you.
Glory and honor to your name, the King of Kings. Glory and honor to your name, the Lord of Lords. Glory and honor to your name. You are Lord. Lord.
The impossible you do, that is why you are Lord.
The mighty
things you do, that is why you are mighty. The greater things you do.
This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
All the glory and honor to you.
The impossible you do.
The impossible you do. That is why you are Lord.
The mighty
things you do. That is why you are mighty.
The things you do.
The greater things you do. That is why you are great. All the glory and honor to you.
Your name is higher than other names, victorious in all your ways. In your name we overcome. You are Lord.
Your name is higher than other names,
glorious,
victorious in all your ways. In your name we overcome. You are
destroy your way. In your name we overcome. You are Lord.
Okay, let's see whether Brother Francis can hear us.
Yeah.
Okay, you can hear us and we can hear you as well.
It's clear.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much there. Okay.
This is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy, JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenating, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and intact? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination intact. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Star Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say order, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program Star Radio UK. Yes, time is flying like no man's business. But hey. It is Star Radio UK. It is the Monday edition of the morning show. So you know that we are pressed with time. So let's crack on. Because HR Regina Palian should join us exactly at 12 o'clock. Yes. But for now, let's quickly crack on and let me bring you all the story, the details of the story as fast as I can. Right. Okay. So going on straight to stories making the rounds from Nigeria. The rare reason why Harry and his wife Meghan Markle will be visiting Nigeria in May 2024 has emerged. The successes are visiting Nigeria at the request of the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Wabin Musa. The visit will also serve as a great opportunity for Meghan, who revealed that she has Nigeria ancestry. So Harry and Meghan are reportedly visiting at the request of Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Wabin Musa. The story says that the defense headquarters announced that the couple will meet with service members and host a variety of cultural activity. It was gathered that the visit will be a good one for Meghan after she revealed in her podcast series, archetypes, that she has Nigerian ancestry. Now, royal commentators Richard Fitzwilliams said it makes sense for the couple to make the trip as Nigeria is hoping to host a future Invictus Games, and Meghan's ancestry links to the country will do that for them. The former special assistant in digital new media to ex-president Muhammadu Buhari said Musa reportedly met Harry in Germany last September at the Invictus Games established for injured and sick service or serving and retired military personnel. A good one there. Let's see if anything good will come out of that or from that. It's all coming your way from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 5 strong APC politicians who may not back Tinubu's re-election in 2027. We've not even finished 20. Now people are looking at, we are in 2024. They are looking at 2027. Okay. Yes. Let's move on. Let's have a look at some of the other stories making the rounds in Nigeria. Now, fuel subsidy was something that the president announced when he was being sworn into after he was sworn into office as the president of Nigeria last year, 2023. And well, we know that it's had impact. Should I call it negative or positive impact? But well, President Bola Tinubu has explained why fuel subsidy removal was necessary for Nigeria. Tinubu said Nigeria would have gone bankrupt if his administration did not stop payment of fuel subsidy. According to Tinubu, the decision was in the best interest of Nigerians to reset the economy towards growth. Now, information coming through says President Bola Tinubu said fuel subsidy removal saved Nigeria from going bankrupt. Tinubu said the decision of his administration to discontinue fuel subsidy payment was in the interest of the people, and he stated this while speaking at the World Economic Forum in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on Sunday, April 28th. Now, he said, concerning the question of the subsidy removal, there is no doubt that it was a necessary action for my country not to go bankrupt, to reset the economy and pathway to growth. He added that the fuel subsidy removal will save the government money from infrastructural expansion. Now, Tinubu, his government implemented parallel arrangements to cushion the impact of vulnerable citizens after the decisions made the value of the naira unstable and heaped hardship on Nigerians as food prices soared. Yes, there have been drawbacks. Yes, there was the expectation of that a greater number of people will feel the difficulty. But of course, I believe it was their interest that was the focus of the government. It is easier to manage and explain the difficulties, but along the lines, there was a parallel arrangement to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal on the vulnerable population of the country. So the question is, how, if you are listening to us, how is this impacting you? Do you think that, well, you'll see some improvement? You can see some, yes, there is a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. Do you see that at all? Dizzy man, hey, he said that everything has gone up. Gas, electricity prices and everything. He says that everything has gone up. But they are thinking that the president is saying that, you know what? Whatever we've done is for the betterment of Nigerians as a whole. Do you feel that that is what is happening? Now, if you take somebody like the president, for instance, and those big hooks, let me put them that way, they are not impacted in any way, shape, or form because they can afford. They have got a means. But what about the vulnerable in society? What are they seeing? What are they experiencing? That is a question on the lips of most people. But well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, the other time I was speaking at the place and I was talking about people who are able to spot talents and spot what people have got in them. Okay? When I say talents alone, I mean to spot potentials in people. That's the right word. Yeah. Now, President Bola Tinubu says Nigeria's investment environment operates on the principle of a willing buyer and willing seller, which ensures seamless access to capital for investors both within and outside the country. The president gave the assurance on Sunday in Riyadh, once again in Saudi Arabia, during a meeting with the president and chief executive officer of Samsung, Hong Nam Kung, the chairman of the Samsung Investment Global, Jung Wook Kim. The meeting took place on the margins of the World Economic Forum special meeting on global collaboration, growth, and energy for development. Nigeria is a very huge country with a huge and able population. We have vibrant youth ready to learn and progress. In fact, our young do not wait for us. They go ahead of us in their determination to succeed. We must keep up and provide opportunities for them to excel with. We have an infrastructure deficit, and you can take advantage of that and invest early and deeply in an environment that is absorptive and ready for it. It is modeled after a willing buyer and willing seller arrangement. Now, easy capital and easy capital in and easy capital out. Now, if the airlines are looking at it this morning, they will be saying, "Whoo, what happened last year or the year before that when airlines could not repatriate their profits or their monies back into their home countries?" And that brought about some of the airlines who have Emirates withdrawing from there. Okay. The president took a time to detail the significant opportunities across sectors for investment within the renewed Hope Infrastructure Development Fund, which involves the potential utilization of co-finance instruments on critical infrastructure and technology, which Samsung is well known to produce. Now, President Tinubu also harped on the importance of deepening collaboration in the crude oil, natural gas, renewable energy, engineering, technology, and agriculture sector, or sectors, emphasizing the potential for vast private sector participation in the establishment of full embedded off-grid cold chain integration across sub-industries in the agriculture sector to forestall post-harvest losses with mass refrigeration capacity. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about electricity. And I was saying that Nigeria has got a large gas reserve, natural gas. But what are we using it for? We have other countries who buy or import gas from Nigeria to use it to power the electricity. So we're talking about all this, but we're looking at it such that it is difficult for people in the industry. So it's like when you talk about this, whilst making all this statement, you come and you see the bottlenecks that is making it virtually impossible for investors, whether local or foreign, to be able to break through. But some will say that, well, some people have done it and therefore, obviously, others will be able to do that as well. But what do you think about all that? It's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. One final story, then we leave Nigeria. As I said, we are pressed with time. While Nigeria's Federal Executive Council has approved the restructuring of some agencies, parastatals, and commissions, a list of scrapped agencies doing the round online is false. Now, Nigeria's Federal Executive Council has approved the recommendation of a committee on the reform of public institutions. The report by Stephen Orosanye seeks to restructure agencies, parastatals, and commissions. Now, the Orosanye Committee was set up by the Nigerian government in 2011 to conduct a comprehensive review of federal agencies and make recommendations for restructuring. Its recommendation included merging, subsuming, and abolishing agencies with similar functions. Now, Bayo Onanuga, special advisor to President Bola Tinubu, said the report was submitted to Goodluck Jonathan's administration in 2012, and a white paper on the report was produced in 2014. The Muhammadu Buhari-led government revisited the white paper in 2022 and published a second white paper on the report in the same year. The Tinubu administration in 2024 decided to implement elements of the report. A list of approved agencies to be scrapped, merged, relocated, and subsumed was published by some news outlets. But a message shared on Facebook in Nigeria claims that the Nigerian government has scrapped these agencies: FRC, and that's the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, the Nigeria Communications Commission, the Nigeria Television Authority. The post reads, federal government scraps all these agencies. Now, other Facebook posts echoed here, and here. Have the agencies listed in the Facebook posts, many of which are large organizations, all being asked? Those are questions that were being asked. But I'll be telling you more about that. I know they're saying it's all fake. So which are the agencies or bodies or commissions that have been asked? Listeners, this is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And we now move on to other parts of Africa. As I did say, we already pressed with time. This man says, the devaluation of the Naira has resulted in some household names in businesses closing down. Oh my. But the president is saying that, well, if you are inside, or outside, financing, yes, it's available. But this man is saying, no, that is not the situation. But some companies have closed down. What do you think about all that? Listeners, this is Starr Radio UK. Now, Kenya has postponed reopening of schools as flood-related deaths near 100. It's one of the stories making the rounds there. Let's move on straight to Togo. The campaigning in Togo ends on Sunday as the country prepares to go to the polls on Monday, that's today, to elect lawmakers and the country's first regional representatives. The polls come against the backdrop of heightened political attention since the approval in April of divisive new constitution and a series of crackdowns on opposition protests. The president's ruling union for the Republic Party, however, says the new system is more democratic and representative. Over 4 million people are registered to vote in the polls, which will give the opposition the chance to gain more seats in parliament. Now, regional and municipal councillors will be responsible for electing senators, allowing the start of an upper house of parliament. The exact number of senators is yet to be determined, though. After boycotting the last election, opposition parties have been rallying their supporters to challenge the ruling party in the polls. So they're going to use that as a referendum, and let's see how that pans out there. Are they going to vote against the ruling government so that they will not have majority in there, and they will have the opposition now being able to form a coalition and decide, no, we're not going to be voting for this one to be the leader of the country? But they're not talking about the fact that they reckon that that is the best way of representing everybody. But what do you think about all that? Listeners, this is Starr Radio UK. This is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London for you, where we bring you this program every weekday from 10 o'clock to depending on the day. The United Nations Security Council on Saturday sounded the alarm over reports of an imminent attack on the last remaining city in Sudan, North Darfur region that is not under the control of Rapid Support Forces, the RSF. Now, fighting over the past year between the paramilitary group and the country's military has seen tens of thousands of people die and more than 8 million people displaced across the nation. As the UN expressed its deep concerns, calling on the warring parties to take steps to de-escalate the situation, local media in Sudan were reporting that a full-scale attack on the city of Al-Fashir was already underway. A sad one there. But because of the Gaza situation and Ukraine, the focus of the attention is not on them. And therefore, they seem to see bad times or bad things happening. But listeners, this is Starr Radio UK, and this is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, there's going to be a by-election in Ghana, and the independent candidate in the impending Ejiso by-election in the Ashanti region, Kwabena Owusu Duomi, says the New Patriotic Party has no spirit in the Ejiso constituency. Now, speaking ahead of the Ejiso by-election tomorrow, the independent candidate disclosed that with a rousing welcome, he has no doubt that he will win the election. According to him, he cannot be a traitor, as his opponents are saying, adding that he has done a lot in the constituency that has benefited the NPP. If they are saying I am a traitor, even while I am outside the project, that Kofi and I are doing all favoring MPP, Adomi is not a traitor. They should learn to be good leaders and solve problems that are in the party so that the party can stand up. I am telling you, MPP has no spirit in the Ejiso constituency, and even in the Ashanti region, Mr. Adomi is stated there. Does it mean that come the election end of the year, are they going to be seeing the NDC taking over the Ashanti region? Or what exactly is going to be happening? As I say, that is their stronghold, and therefore I think they will do everything possible to hold the reins there. But what do you think about all that? So come your way from Starr Radio UK. So, when it comes to the politics of that part of the world, well, you can never choose a successor, Mahama tells the current president. The flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Mahama, says President Akufo-Addo cannot determine who becomes his successor in 2024 election. Now, this follows President Akufo-Addo's statement that the former president, John Mahama, cannot be his successor. Before the election is held, I'm going to come here and pay my proper goodbye to you and thank you for the cooperation that I received from you when I was president. Now, God willing, I will come with the man who is going to be my successor Why now? You know that the man I removed from the seat, I cannot have him as my successor and as a traditional ruler. You understand what I am saying? President Akufo-Addo indicated. In a sharp response, while addressing a gathering at Damango in the Savannah region, the NDC flag bearer stated that the president cannot determine who succeeds him in a democratic country. I wish to urge our president, quote, "This was my message to Nana Akufo-Addo. Unfortunately, he has left, and he has left only our member of the Council of States on the high table. I wish to urge our president, the best legacy he can leave this country is to pretend over a peaceful, transparent, and credible election," the former president stated. He continued, "I wish to remind him that it is God who makes rulers, and he can never ever be the one to choose his successor. It is good, or it is God who chooses the successor." And that's when it comes to Africa, you know. Well, they say that people are robbing and say it's God, oh, it's God. Boy, oh my, I think it's time for people to wake up. Well, when you see people robbing you, you will say that, well, it is God who told the thief to come and rob me. Really? When you know that you need to put some burglar proof at your door or set some alarms and get some a baseball bat so that somebody trying to rob you can bash them. I'm not advocating for violence, please. Well, but it's quite interesting when it comes to Africa and our leaders there as well. But listen, it's Starr Radio UK, 11:45 the time. The morning show, the program, one more from Ghana, and then we go to other parts of the world. So just bear with me whilst I do so. Well, in relation to the by-election that's going to be taking place, the president has come out to say that, well, if it's not an MPP, MP, or that's the MPP doesn't win, that he doesn't tell that there will be anyone who can actually convince him to actually bring about some development in Ejisu. But you listen to that statement and you ask yourself the question, is he a president for the whole country, or is he a president for his party? So that is where his own party reps are that he will be developing. The taxes that is paid by citizens or are paid by citizens, where do they go? Where can they actually go? How are they administered? So when it comes to democracy properly, I bet you, I think we are far, far away of from democracy itself. But let's see. Let's keep fingers crossed and everything. Let's see what is going to happen. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration has advised Ghanaians to avoid traveling to Gao and Asongo regions of northern Mali. In the statement, the ministry disclosed that the major highways linking Mali are there have been attacks on that road, so they are advising people. So if you are listening to us this morning, well, that's a word of advice to you. Starr Radio UK. In other parts of the world as well, and this time around in Haiti, well, Haitians demand new leaders find swift solution to gang violence. The people of Haiti have had enough. Just days after a transitional presidential council was installed, formalizing the resignation of former Prime Minister Ariel Henry, their list of demands is growing rapidly. Now, Haitians want security, food, and jobs, and they want them like when? Now. The first thing that the Presidential Council must do is look into the security problems. Insecurity has made the country unlivable. We are going crazy, running everywhere and with nowhere to go, says the taxi driver Joseph Ferdinand. Now, next on his list is the issue of hunger. Now, people are living in misery. Misery is destroying the population. He says, pointing to a huge pile of garbage lying uncollected in the street. His complaints are echoed by many people in the streets of the capital, Port-au-Prince. More than 2,500 people were killed or injured from January to March alone, and more than 90,000 have fled the capital, Port-au-Prince, so far this year amid relentless gang violence. The United Nations says there is a great fatigue, trauma, and a lot of fear among the people of Haiti. Now, in the streets of Port-au-Prince, people say without security, it is impossible to even think about resuming a normal life. It's insecurity that brought us to where we are today. A country without security is a country where we cannot do anything, says car mechanic Jean-Marc Daniel. The 9-member council acknowledges the challenges it faces and says it will vote for the country next president on Tuesday. How exactly it plans to tackle the daunting task is unclear, and no strategy to quell gang violence has been publicly announced. It's going to be a carrot and stick approach where they bring all those guys up there to join them in to negotiate and find a way forward for the whole country, and maybe some way somehow give them the opportunity to not to prosecute them, but some way somehow get them to be part of governance. Hey, let me say good morning to Mavis. I hope you are doing very, very well. And TT, the big man himself, I salute you all. Good morning to you. Now, so it's quite interesting what is happening there. But what do you think about all that? It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, with the time that we have, 11 minutes to the top of the hour, let's move on to other stories making the round. The Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has said he will stay on as Spain's leader following 5 days of speculation over his future. Now, Mr. Sanchez cancelled official engagement last week after a court opened an initial inquiry into his wife over corruption claims. He denounced them as harassment campaign by right-wing media. Mr. Sanchez said he decided to stay on following expressions of solidarity from all sections of society. Mr. Sanchez said he decided to stay on following expressions of solidarity from all sections of society. A series of demonstrations were held around Spain over the weekend, calling for the Prime Minister to continue in his post. More than 10,000 people gathered in front of the Socialist Party's headquarters in Madrid in a show of support for the Prime Minister. Good one there. Now, thanks to the mobilization, I have decided to continue leading the presidency, Mr. Sanchez said, vowing to carry on with more strength if possible. This isn't about the destiny of one leader. It is about deciding what kind of society we want to be. Our country needs this self-reflection. We have left the mud soil our public life for too long, he said. The accusation against Mr. Sanchez's wife, Begona Gomez, were brought against her by the organization Manos Limpias, and that's Clean Hands, led by a man linked to the far right called Miguel Bernard. On Thursday, Madrid's public prosecutor called for the probe to be shelved for lack of evidence. Manos Limpias also acknowledged the allegations might be incorrect because they were based on online newspaper stories, one of which has already proven to be false. Give a dog a bad name, and then you know what? You can hang it. That seems to be the trend in politics now. With the inception of social media, I mean, anybody can put anything anywhere. As I sit here in the studios here in London, somebody can just put my face or my head on something saying that I'm somewhere in Russia. Yeah. But well, what do you think about all that? It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, in one other story before we come to the UK, just bear with me. Let me just do that quickly. A British man seriously injured in a shark attack in Tobago is aware of what is happening and able to communicate, his wife has said. And Peter Smith, 64, was on the Caribbean island with wife Joe and friends when he was attacked in Caroline Bay on Friday morning. Two of their friends stayed in the water to battle the shark. Mrs. Smith said her husband is in intensive care in the island Scarborough General Hospital, where he is in a stable condition. Now, Peter has suffered damage to his left arm and leg, puncture wounds to the abdomen, and injuries to his right hand, the full extent of which are still being evaluated, said Mrs. Smith. Beckhamsted Hertfordshire. Now, hospital medics are now deciding on the future of course of treatment, she added. We wish him a speedy recovery there. Listen to Star Radio UK. Now, coming on straight to the final segment of the whole program this morning, that is the first part of the program, where I'm going to be taking you to Cyprus, where HR Linda Palian is going to be joining us to bring you Career 101. Now, in Northern Ireland, okay, let me bring that one as the last by bringing you this one first. A Conservative MP says he was deported during a trip to Djibouti because of the East African country's close ties to China. Tim Loughton, the MP for East Worthing, Shoreham, said he was detained for more than 7 hours and barred from entry to Djibouti earlier this month. Mr. Loughton was subjected to sanctions by China in 2021, described the experience as very lonely and frightening. Now, China's Foreign Office said the accusations were baseless. Mr. Loughton was in Djibouti for a 24-hour visit, which included a meeting with the British ambassador. He said when he arrived, his passport was scanned, and his passport, okay, so typo there, and his passport was scanned, and he was asked what he did. I told them I was a member of parliament, and then I went on and it went all very frosty. He said that Djibouti is effectively a vassal state of China. What China wants, Djibouti kotos too. And having a troublesome MP who has been sanctioned by China turning up on their doorstep was clearly something they didn't want to entertain. He said he was put on the next available flight out of the country. Now, this was another example of how the tentacles of the Chinese Communist government extend far and wide. Their malign influence in sensitive parts of Africa is particularly worrying. Yet, the intimidation of countless mere others who have dared to speak out against China's industrial-scale human rights abuses, who do not have the platform, an MP raises serious consent. It's quite a worrying thing that seems to be going on there. But well, so you dare not criticize it, is that it? Well. Now, one other story before we come to the final one. The UK government is unlikely to take back asylum seekers who have crossed into Ireland until EU-wide asylum rules are changed. A minister has said. Last week, the Irish government announced emergency laws to return a rising number of asylum seekers crossing the Northern Ireland. Now, Ireland's deputy leader, Michael Martin, will discuss the issue with Northern Ireland Secretary Chris Heaton-Harris. Mel Stride said he doubted the UK would take back any asylum seekers. Now, not least because when it comes to France, another EU country, they're not in the business of taking illegal migrants back that come here. The Work and the Pension Secretary said. Now, his comments echoed those of government source who said the UK will not accept any asylum returns from the EU via Ireland until EU accepts that we can send them back to France. The source added the government was fully focused on operationalizing a Rwanda scheme and will continue working with the French to stop the boats from crossing the channel. But there have been lots of videos that have gone viral where we've seen the French authorities standing aloof there, saying that, well, we are scared for our security, and therefore these people jump or hop on the flimsy boats and then try to cross the channel. But why don't they deflate those whatever thing, and then from the word go, so that they can hold them back on their journey? But they allow them to go. Well. It's quite interesting. But again, there's one issue that I was talking about over the weekend with some close friends, and I was saying that, well, what are the push factors? And what are the foreign policies that advanced countries implement? I will come back to it every time that I make this statement. Looking at what happened in Libya, the fact that Libyans were living their lives, okay? We had Muammar Gaddafi. I mean, virtually, if you are living in that place, I have friends who have lived in that part of the world, and they can tell you that they lived, I mean, free rent. If you're a citizen there, you get married, hey, you get a free apartment or a house or whatever it is. They put up a building, a house there, and then tell you that you want to move there, move there. They go to hospital for free, and virtually free, because the leader at the time was making sure that the whatever the country is making out of its oil, okay, goes round, and everybody there was enjoying that. He went on further to say, you know what? As our Muslim brothers do, they say they give loans, you don't pay interest on it. So Libya was going to front that bit where the AU will come together, and then when there's a need for any country to get some loans, they give them those loans, and then so that we don't need to go outside to get it. Now, because advanced countries felt they felt threatened, they decided, you know what? Let's get rid of him. Am I telling the truth? And that has brought that part of the continent, the African continent, the northern part of it, yes, people can just cross that place because now there are rogues there. There are people who are not, law abiding, and they will just get anybody to walk through that bit, cross by and cross the Mediterranean to Europe. And then cross from there to say that they come into this place. Well, it's not only them, because we have people who are coming in from Iraq, those who are coming in from Afghanistan, and all those other countries there coming in as well. But what did they do to foment that? Let's talk about Iraq. The fact that we went there to go bomb them, take Saddam Hussein off. Some way, somehow, they were living their lives. They were okay. Some will say that, well, we think that we were not enjoying democracy the way. Now, this is not democracy. It's just because we go to vote and then people come in there. Look at what is happening in some of the African countries. Because they say they are practicing democracy, right? Right. And then they go vote for people. But the whole thing is like being some way, somehow, should I say, it's not a free and fair election thing. So don't worry. It's democracy. Because it's being influenced. Some way, somehow, somebody is manipulating the whole thing. And we say that is okay for us. And so when all these things seem to be happening, then I ask myself the question, what did we do wrong? What exactly did we do to foment that? So I think foreign policies needs to be changed. And then we can look forward. Listen at Starr Radio UK. One other story, and then I'll take you to Cyprus, where HR8 Linda Palian is this morning to bring you Career 101. Hamza Yusuf is to resign as Scotland First Minister. He has arrived at Booth House in Edinburgh, the First Minister's official residence, for a press conference at 12. I'll try to see whether we can get that for you. The SNP leader has been under pressure since he ended a power-sharing deal with the Scottish Greens last week. The opposition parties in the Scottish Parliament has tabled 2 confident votes, one in the First Minister and another in the SNP government. Mr. Yusuf has been struggling to secure support to lead a minority government. He had written to Scotland's opposition parties asking them to find a common ground ahead of the confident vote. The First Minister's decision to end the Bute House agreement, the power-sharing deal with the Scottish Greens, followed a backlash over the SNP scrapping 2030 climate targets and gender policies. The Green accused Mr. Yusuf of selling out future generations and had themselves been due vote whether to remain in power with the SNP. The SNP has 63 members of the Scottish Parliament in the 129-seat Parliament. So if the 7 Green SMMSPs, members of the Scottish Parliament, vote against him, he's reliant on support from Sole Alba Party, that's member of SNP, Ash Regan, to continue in his role. Mr. Yusuf, the MSP for Glasgow Pollock, has reportedly ruled out cutting a deal with Alba, a pro-independence party formed by former First Minister Alex Salmond after he broke from the SNP. Now, Alba's support will lead to a 64-64 tie vote, in which case the presiding officer will be expected to vote to maintain the status quo. The motion of confidence in him personally is not binding, but if he lost, he will come under intense pressure to step down. If he lost the government vote, MSPs will have 28 days to vote for a new First Minister, automatically trigger a Scottish Parliament election. Now, Scottish Labour has said the motion of no confidence in the Scottish government will remain tabled even if Mr. Youssef resigns. Now, Douglas Ross, leader of the Scottish Conservative, said Mr. Youssef had jumped before that's a typo there, jumped before being pushed by the no confidence vote which had been tabled. In a post on X, he said, "We saw off Nicola Sturgeon and now Hamza Youssef. Now we work to remove this entire rotten SNP government from office." Now, Scottish Liberal Democrat leader Alex Cole Hamilton declined an offer of talks with Mr. Youssef over the weekend and called for him to resign. Minority government works on trust. He has none, he wrote. His priorities are not the people's priorities, and he is clearly only motivated now by political survival. So what is going to happen in Scotland? That is the question on the lips of most people this morning. I will be bringing you that very, very closely, monitoring everything that is happening there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Starr Radio, okay? And this is why I bring the first part of the program to a close, where I'm going to be taking you to Cyprus, where we're going to be having the one and only HRH Linda Pallion joining in to bring you Career 101. But for now, let's take a break, and I will bring you HRH Linda Pallion. Stay tuned.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Welcome to the program. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. It's now time for me to bring you HRH Linda Pallion all the way from Cyprus. And today we are looking at mindset. So stay tuned. Don't you go away.
And achieve it, then it means that sheer will and determination will get you anywhere. And for me, I said, you know what, if he manages to pull this off, I have no excuses in life, full stop.
Okay. All the what constraints and what the things against him. I mean, everything that people are throwing at him. If he's able to come through, then he's really one that we have to admire. Wow. Wow. Nice to have you once again. We're sure that you are feeling much better today.
Definitely.
Great.
Thank you so much for bearing with me.
Great. Okay, now what are we looking at today?
So today, actually, and this is a great question, we're looking at the one factor that determines success. And actually, we've alluded to this, the one factor that determines success.
Okay.
We alluded to this when we answered the question about Trump and Boris Johnson.
Okay.
And this to me is, well, actually, have a guess. What do you think it is? Listeners, phone in. I want your input.
Yeah, we want to know what you really think determines success.
Yes, what do you think
I believe that not quitting. It doesn't matter. Just sticking to it. By the time somebody will say you are sticking to it, you know that we are going into an abyss. You say you are still sticking to it, you will die.
Yes, definitely. And I think this goes beyond careers. And for me, it's the mindset you know, believing that you can, or having that will and conviction to see a goal that you set for yourself through. I think mindset will trump everything. And I mean, this has come about. Someone close to me got diagnosed with a terminal illness, so I've been researching about these things, you know, and a lot of us are affected by loved ones who get these death sentences every day, you know, and what makes other people survivors and what makes other people succumb to it. And it's definitely mindset, you know, because it's the putting that fear in you that makes you crippled and powerless and not try other things and almost start giving up already. You know, I was reading about a case study of a hypochondriac lady who had a motor neuron disease, and she believed she had it for ages, and then eventually she was told she didn't.
Wow.
Right? But she believed that for ages, and it stopped her from doing other things. So then she started to feel ill again because she was like, I have to have something. It hasn't been motor neurons, and they did.
So it's all mindset. It's all in the head.
Exactly.
Wow.
So more tests, and then they told her she had cancer, and she was dead within 4 days of that diagnosis.
Wow.
Right, 4 days. She was looking for a reason to leave and to get out. And she found the justification she needed to get out. And this is a bit of a morbid issue, but when we talk about careers and your job, I think the same thing plays into this. And I've had a bit of a celebration week, actually, like a really good week. Where 3 of my clients have done exceptionally well. You know,
congratulations.
These are people who I worked on normally, but we've really worked on mindset. So when you do the job, when you what stops you applying for the promotion that you deserve? You know, where if you're making excuses about I'm too young to do this, I'm too old, I probably need a bit more experience to do this, and you're stopping yourself from going for that which you know that you can do and excel in. You know, you're like, how does someone so young and so inexperienced get that promotion? You know? And for you, in your reality, it's impossible. So then you haven't worked towards it because you know subconsciously, and I say you know in inverted commas, you've told yourself and you believe that. And the brain wants to be right. So for you, it's fact and it's in your reality.
Interesting. Listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is the Career 101 program with HRH Linda Palian, all the way from Cyprus, making sure that she cheers you all the way through your career, advising you what to do and where to go. But you want to share with us what your take has been on our discussion this morning or this afternoon, feel free to do so. You can call us on 0208-133-2257, 0208-133-2257 or 58. You might be in the US or Canada, wherever you are listening to us. In US or Canada is 00171833032737, 00171833032737. Text or WhatsApp is 0753966174, 0753966174. Our Twitter handle is Starr Radio UK and our email address is info@starradiouk.com. Today we are looking at the one factor that determines success. What do you think that is? Let's come back to Linda once again. Hello, Linda.
Hello. So I'll give you a practical example. This is one of my clients that's been working in the charity sector for migrants. She's been working with migrant workers. And she's been doing this for the last 10 years in London. And bear in mind the cost of living in London. On barely livable wage. So she was on 25,000, which to some people is enough. again, depending on what your mindset or your blueprint and thermostat is.
Yeah.
The level and quality of work that she was doing, she'd been underpaid for someone with 10 years experience. And I'm not talking about someone that does a 9 to 5. This is somebody that's organizing events with worldwide celebrities and raising funds and raising millions.
Wow. And was earning only 25.
Absolutely.
Gosh.
But her mindset was in nobody has money. It's badly paid, but actually she's making a difference in the area that she loves. So it's okay to be underpaid, because at least she hasn't sold herself and her soul to the corporate. And this unconsciously was her belief. So she'd never even asked for a pay rise. She'd never even renegotiated her salary in the 10 years she'd been there. Of course, she's had incremental pay rises to 25K.
Okay.
Over the years. But she believes that that's standard. And because of that, it held her back financially. Money is not, but it's a huge, important measure of success when we talk about careers in business. So we can talk about money mindset as a separate issue, but we need to start recognizing the importance that plays and how that related to mindset.
Yeah.
So this client, we've been going back and forth, and she identified a job that it's the same job that she does, same job, same sector, same industry, but with a salary that she thought would make her life a little bit easier.
Okay.
All the traveling and the late nights and the working around the clock easier. So we did that, made her CV and application, went for a job, and I kid you not, 28K pay rise for doing the same job.
28K pay rise.
Yeah.
Wow.
So going from 25 to over 50.
Yeah.
Right, and for the same job. But the thing that has changed is her mindset.
Okay.
Believing that it's possible for her and that she deserves this. So when we talk about mindset with careers, a lot of people think, it's a bit of an abstract concept and actually show me the money.
Yeah.
But this translates into show me the big money. Right? As soon as you believe it's possible, you've won. You're halfway there. And now it's how do I do it? And the how is what we can easily do together. The how is what you can easily do by yourself together. It's changing the mindset that you need to recognize what belief system you have and then adopt other belief systems that serve you. So it's not the economy. I mean, I hear people say, everywhere is the same. You meet good and bad colleagues. Why change the job? Now you're going to go through the job process again. Or actually, nobody's hiring people with children. There's this learned helplessness, that we resolve to take action, because taking action and taking responsibility is harder than saying the same and blaming an external party. The mindset plays a huge role in your career, in your business. It depends how much you charge, how much value you place on the service and the product you offer, how much value you place on all the experience that you already have, has to do with your mindset.
Wow. Listen to Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, with HRH Linda Paley, and all the way from Cyprus, bringing you Career 101. Today we're looking at the one factor that determines success. Okay? And we've come to understand that it is mindset. Now, Linda, someone might be listening to us this afternoon and thinking, oh, yes, you whipped up my interest. I can do something about it. But how do they go about changing their mindset? Because it's all, somebody say it's all in there. How do you change your mindset?
The first, recognize what your mindset is, and the way you can do it is to question what you believe. So, for example, why in the careers context, because this is Career 101 on the radio, why are you in the job that you're in now?
Okay.
Do you believe that you're supposed to be here? Do you believe that there's better? Do you understand why you're being paid the salary? How much do you think you can earn more? Or is it even possible? Start asking questions about the things that you believe are everyday and normal and standard. Start questioning your beliefs. And say, well, could I be this person that ends this? Can I really be boss one day? Because then you'll get the truth to you. I mean, we can kid ourselves, but you'll know how firmly or how strongly you believe in something. And once you understand it, you can work towards it. So sometimes people do affirmations, say, I am the best, I am the winner, I've already won. Those are affirmations, and they tell themselves until they start to believe it naturally.
Okay.
So and I do this with my clients, we build a vision board, and actually I have one. I've used myself as an example, as embarrassing as this is.
No, that's okay.
In my office, I have a picture of my mentors or my heroes, for example. So I have a big placard that shows the likes of Michelle Obama, Oprah Winfrey, in a big blown up picture, and it looks like we went to an event together. You know, and this is me seeing myself as that person, you know, and then I'll ask myself, how would I behave if I was this person already? Just in your practice what is called back from the future thinking. You know, you're seeing it happen already. And actually, I do this with my friend. One of my friends has panic attacks because she thinks that she's going to die young. So I always make her envision seeing herself as an old lady with her kids, and some of those computer programs that makes you old, so you can sort of form that vivid picture that reverses that thinking. So you can apply it in your careers. You can apply what they always say: dress for the job that you want as well. That again, is you starting to reverse that mindset. When I went to McDonald's, there was a guy, and this is in my school days. There was a guy in McDonald's that always wore a suit to work. I don't know where he is now. People used to laugh at him. Yet he had a suit and yellow gold pins on the suit, and he would wear it to work before he got changed.
Wow!
You know, when you look at this guy and you think he's missing a few screws. I see where he is now, right? It's not the Sultan of somewhere. I have no idea. So yes, and there's a lot of ways to start changing your mindset, and visualization is a powerful one, whichever way you decide to do it.
I know some people are listening to us, those who are Christians or religious, let me put it that way. If you study this Abraham, it talks about the fact that God called him out one day or one night after the nephew Lot has left, and then he has just decided that he should take a place at the grounds where it's all stony or rocky, that you cannot sow anything. Then God told him, look up, and he said, as far as you see, that's what I will give you. So like you are saying, vision is very, very, very important. And even when it comes to the faith that we talk about, you have to be able to see those things and bring them into reality. So if you can't see yourself as being big or being great, or then that mindset, I bet you that you'll be far away from that success that we are talking about.
And you mentioned faith, because the whole practice of faith and religion based on something you can't see.
You know,
and in the Bible says if you have the faith of a mustard seed, and at a mustard seed and think, wow, is that how little faith?
Little. If you can get a little like that, wow.
You're believing in this thing, whether it's God, the universe, Jesus, whatever. You believe without doubt, without questioning, something that you can't see and calling it into reality. And you can do that and manifest that in every aspect of your life, in your career, in your work, in your relationship. We were joking about people describing their future partners and making this long list of what my future partner
should be like.
We've all done it as well. And apply it to your careers, please. You need to, and always question: do I believe it? Do I deserve this? Is that better? Can I manifest better?
Wow. Okay, listeners, if we want to go on, we'll go on and on and on and on and on. But you want to know much more from Linda, my HRH? She can be your cheerleader as well. She'll put a contact across and listen to it. Get in touch with her. Maybe you're going to uni now. Maybe you have just entered sixth form, or maybe you're looking for a new job. You're not very sure. The other time I was having a chat with one of the young ones at church, and I was asking, what do you want to be in that? They said, I don't know. I was like, because at that age, when I was like, I knew exactly what I wanted to be. Okay?
Right.
Yes. But at that age, now she is saying that she didn't have a clue. So if you are in that category, or you're a parent and you know your kids, you've been asking them, what do you want to do, and they cannot answer those questions, please get in touch with Linda. My HRH, can you put the contact across, please?
Absolutely. So as you said, I specialize in exploring your career options. And actually, if you don't know what you want to do, or you're confused, or you think, I want to do a career change, there's only 6 steps to finding out and getting absolute clarity in what to do. So please, if not for anything at all, get in touch with a free source. The 6 steps that will give you the absolute certainty you need to be able to choose a career, go into a particular career, evaluate, start business, evaluate investment options, etc. 6 steps. Everybody can do it. My details as at my cheerleader. You can find me on Facebook page at my cheerleader. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. There's lots of resources on YouTube. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Linda Pallion, and then in bracket, my cheerleader. My cheerleader is all one word: MyCheerLinda.
Wow. Linda, let me say thank you once again. But before we go, what do you want to tell listeners?
My pleasure. Hang in there. You can do it if you believe you can, and if you have a dream and a vision of yourself that you can do it, and you're seeing this, it means that that's what you're supposed to be doing. So stop making excuses and do this, whatever it takes, whether it's working with me to achieve this or working with a mentor. Do it, but do something.
Wow. Do it, but do something. Linda, once again, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure when we have you on, because we know our listeners cherish it so greatly. Our regards to Mr. Pallion, and we say have a lovely week.
You too. Thanks for having me on the show as always.
You're welcome. All right then. Bye for now. Okay, listeners, that was HRH. Linda Pallion for you. So this is where I bring the program to a close for today. Wherever you might be listening to us from, don't even think of touching the dial. We're going to be let me bring you an update of what is happening in Scotland, and then we can bring the program to a close. As I did say earlier on, Hamza Yusuf is said to resign, and I can tell you assuredly that Hamza Yusuf has resigned. Hamza Yusuf has resigned. That is the breaking news that is coming through this morning. Hamza Yusuf has resigned. Now, Hamza Yusuf is to stand down Scotland's First Minister once a successor is found. He said he had made the decision after spending the weekend reflecting on what was best for the SNP, the government, and the country. Mr. Yusuf said he had concluded that someone else would need to take over in order to repair our relationship across the political divide. It follows the collapse of the SNP's power-sharing deal with the Greens. Mr. Yusuf's decision to end the agreement angered the Greens and left him struggling to secure enough support in order to lead a minority government. He had been facing 2 votes of no confidence later this week that he was not certain to win. Now, with the Greens saying they will vote to remove him as First Minister, speaking at his official Butte House residence in Edinburgh, Mr. Yusuf admitted that he had clearly underestimated the hurt he had caused the Greens by ending the agreement in the manner that he did. He said, after spending the weekend reflecting on what is best for my party, for the government, and for the country I lead, I've concluded that repairing our relationship across the political divide can only be done with someone else at the helm. I've therefore informed the SNP's National Secretary of my intention to stand down as party leader. His resignation comes just 13 months after Mr. Yusuf won the contest to succeed Nicola Sturgeon as First Minister and SNP leader. He said, I cannot tell you what an honor it's been, the First Minister of the country I love, the country I am raising my family in, and the only country I will ever call home. Mr. Yusuf added, as a young boy born and raised in Scotland, I could never have dreamed that one day I would have the privilege of leading my country. People that look like me were not in positions of political influence, let alone leading government when I was younger. Now, we now live in a UK that a British Hindu Prime Minister, a Muslim Mayor of London, a Black Welsh First Minister, and for a little while longer, a Scots Asian First Minister of Scotland. Opposition parties in the Scottish Parliament had tabled 2 confidence votes, one in the First Minister and another in the SNP government. Mr. Yusuf had written to the other party leaders asking them to find common ground ahead of confidence votes, but was facing a battle to save his political future with his government no longer having a majority of seats in Parliament. So with that, Scottish Labour has previously said its motion of no confidence in the Scottish government will remain tabled even if Mr. Yusuf resigns. So what will be at stake for them? Are they going to be seeing another election? They're calling for an election, or what exactly is going to happen on that front? He's made a decision after spending the weekend reflecting on what was best for the SNP, the government, and the country. So it's a congratulations to him for stepping down as well, making the right decision in this particular case. But whatever it is, well, tomorrow we'll be telling you more about the happenings, what is going to happen after that move. Well, on that note, let me say thank you very much for tuning in to listen to us. It's been a pleasure coming your way. This is Starr Radio UK, and this is your favorite radio station in London, and it's been me, your one and only Archie. I sign off with this song. It's a Borobedo Belgium. Okay, it's a live music in the Plantains from the Enchanting Band in Ghana. So enjoy it. I've not actually listened to it at all, so it's going to be the first time with you. So enjoy it, whether good or bad. But whatever it is, tomorrow I'll be back to bring you the Tuesday edition of the morning show. Have a lovely day, and God bless you all. Bye bye for now.
Nanso ya ne ye ho ye wo bibia bi nanso bibia bi jese ye konsre
Africa is rich, but the African is poor. The land is rich, but the people are sick. Oh, Africa is rich.
Yewokoko fango sika koko,
but the African is poor.
Ekom yare ohiane ka.
The land is rich.
You niaba niane nsuo ni aduro,
but the people are sick.
Oh,
oh.
Yet nsuo ho nanso sukom.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Na yehu ana eni ana ye ni bi. Yet sikaso nanso eka amene yen. Yanara yesika koko enso sietu a yenya bindi.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Nanso ekom adokoro yen. Nia oche no esinesini ama obia enya kakra di no. Odi o meja pade esiesie ni fie. Yeti nuromu nanso yare adokoro yen. Yenuro nyina firi amanone. Ewa bra yeti hahamu. Oh, baby mine, baby mine, baby mine.
Africa is rich, but the African is poor. The land is rich, the land is rich, but the people